Hi class, Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. So today we enter the week, we already enter week 7, and today we will learn, or we will enter the new chapter, which is chapter 5, and chapter 5 is about sampling distributions. Okay, so in this chapter you will deal frequently on the sample. Okay, so then wait, I will open the, okay, so then what we do next is we go to the second slide. Okay, but before that, okay, before we start, okay, you need to understand the terms of population and sample first. Okay, so these two terms you already have an idea about it. Actually, kita dah pun deal dengan populations and sample in chapter 1. Okay, so you need to, if you're not remember what is the meaning of population, what's the meaning of sample, you need to recall back chapter 1, right? Okay, so I just give an idea. Okay, what's the population and sample? Okay, population in easy word is the all what we call all elements, and sample is the subset of population tadi. Maksudnya, okay, I give you example. U-temp staffs. Okay, U-temp staff is big, right? Okay, and then I have another one which is FKP staff. So you can see, right? FKP and U-temp. FKP is a part ataupun FKP is a subset of U-temp. Maksudnya dalam U-temp tu ada FKP, kan? So FKP is a sample, and U-temp staff is the population. Okay, that one, the first one. Okay, another example I can give you. Okay, because I just want to highlight, because before this I see that quiz 1, they have some that do mistake on classification on sample and population. Maybe some of you confusing when it comes a number. Macam ni, population is not only bukan semua nombor yang besar tu adalah population, tak. Okay, contoh dalam satu kelas there have 5 students that taking statistic. For example, one class have 5 students. One class have 5 students and all students take statistic subjects. Okay, 3 of these students, 3 orang daripada kelas ni tadi lulus statistik subject. Okay, so what you can relate here, 5 students tadi adalah population, even though it's only 5, but it's only 5 students in that class, so 5 is all. Okay, so 5 students in the class is a population, and 3 students that have a pass grade for this statistic subject is your sample. Okay, so I just want to press here that even though the number is small, for example 5, right? 5 je, tapi 5 is considered as all, because tadi saya cakap dalam kelas ni cuma ada 5 orang. So 5 orang, so it mean all 5. Okay, so sebab saya perasan dia jawab salah dekat soalan quiz, sebab mungkin dia tengok nombor tu sikit, so dia consider as sample. Tak, you kena tengok, kalau dia kata all, so means all, even though the number is small ataupun berapa orang pun tak kisahlah, but the keyword is all. Okay, so that one will be population. Okay, so I cut it here because that's not our main topic. Okay, our main topic for this week is, okay, so they have an objective here, 3 objectives. So in the end of this chapter, what you should able to get, okay, the first one here, you will able to understand the concept of sampling distribution. Okay, that one, the first one. Then the second one, you'll be able to how to calculate the probability for sampling distribution of sample mean. And then the third one, to calculate the probability of sample proportion. Okay, so ada 3 objektif. Suppose that you will able to get, okay, after you finish this class ataupun this lecture lah. Okay, so the next slide is what the concept, okay, the concept of sampling distribution is about what? Sampling distribution, okay, we will divide into two. Okay, in this chapter you will learn these two. The first one is sampling distribution of the sample mean. Okay, and the second one is sampling distribution of the sample proportion. Okay, I believe that all of you know what does mean by mean kan? Saya tahu, semua tahu apa tu mean. But maybe you are wondering what is proportion? Okay, so for proportion we hold it first. We proceed with the sample mean first, okay? And then after we go to this, later we show you. Okay, but now as I just want to give you idea what the behind of this topics. Okay, after you know the sampling distribution of the sample mean, then we will find out the mean of the sample mean. Dia critical sikit macam, okay, tadi kita dah cari sample mean. That one is sample mean. Now, okay, sample mean we use X bar. Okay, after this maybe I use X bar just to indicate sample mean. Okay, so after you get this one, we will find the mean of sample mean. Mean kepada sample mean. So, and also we find the standard deviation of sample mean. Standard deviation kepada sample mean. So ada dua benda lah, ataupun tiga lah. First, we find the sampling distribution first. After that, we find the mean of it and also standard deviation. So the symbol that we will use here, okay, for mean, we use the mu. Okay, still the same formula. I mean mu, right? Mu is indicated for mean. But now you can see that down here, they have a X bar. So this indicate the mean of sample mean. Okay, and then for standard deviation, same thing. Okay, we use standard deviation usually like this symbol, sigma, and then now we have a X bar down here to indicate the sample mean. Okay, so now we go to sampling distribution of sample proportion. Okay, I just brief the symbol first, later baru I explain what does mean by proportion. So we use this symbol to indicate the sample proportion, which is P head. Okay, we pronounce it as P head. And then after that, we will find the mean of the P head tadi. Okay, we find out the mean of sample proportion, and then we find the standard deviation of sample proportion. So this is how we write the symbol for these two. Okay, mean proportion sample proportion, and standard deviation for sample proportion. Okay, so this slide I just brief you, or I just introduce you the symbol. Okay, now okay, so step one, next slide is about the tabulating the sampling distribution of X bar. Okay, start from now on, I will use X bar indicate as a sample mean. So tabulating the sampling distribution of X bar. Okay, before you find the mean, before you find the what we call standard deviation, you need to find out your sampling distribution first. You need to find your sampling distribution first. So the step number one, what you need to do is you need to obtain all the possible sample of size n. Okay, size n, sample n from a population size n. So biggest n, the big N here is represent the population size, and the small n here is represent the sample size. So then the number of possible sample is indicated by this lah, NCR or either one. If the question give you in this term, or this one, so this all four is represent the same meaning. Okay, maksudnya sama, cuma cara penulisan yang berbeza lah. But usually kita punya macam ni cara tulis dia, tapi yeah, you need to know lah semua ni, because the question can be right in many style. Okay, so NCR. So actually for this one, I already give you an example, or I will show you how to use the calculator. Okay, you need to refer back in chapter 3 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, alright. Step number 2. After you you get all the possible sample, you list down. Then step number 2, we will compute the sample mean for each sample. Okay class, tadi just now we just list down all the sample. We just list down all the sample. Now step number 2, we will find the mean for each sample. So sampel ni tadi dekat step number 1 ni mungkin ada banyak lah, mungkin ada 15, 10. So how to know how many the possible sample? This is the way lah. This one the way how you know that how many possible sample that we should get. Okay, the number of possible sample is given by this one, either one. Tapi cara tulis ataupun cara calculate dia just one way lah. Okay, that one I already show you tadi dalam in the chapter 3 if I'm not mistaken. I already upload the link, I already upload the how to use your calculator to get NCR. Okay, so after that step number 2, we will find the mean, ataupun dalam kata lain the mean lah, mean untuk setiap sampel tadi. Contoh, for example, you get 15 samples. So you need to find mean each of it. You kena cari mean untuk setiap 15 tadi, 15 sampel yang dapat tadi. Okay, then step number 3 is you need to tabulate the frequency distribution. Okay, and the step number 4, you will tabulate the probability distribution. PDF lah. This one PDF, probability distribution of S bar. Okay. Alright, okay class, they have no example here because I just give you the important point of this chapter. If you want to more details, you can refer to resources, the textbook PDF. And for example, I will upload it later in the split video, in the different video. Okay, so now we go to the next slide, is a mean and standard deviation of the sampling distribution of S bar, which is sample mean. So sekarang kita nak cari pula, tadi kita dah list down dia punya sample. Okay, kelas, saya takut ada yang keliru. Okay, first we list down all the sample. So that is the first one. Step number 2, we find the mean for each sample. So that will be the meaning of sample mean. Okay, mean of each sample. Okay. But now what does it mean is mean and standard deviation for the is given by this one. Dia tak sama macam mean yang step number 2 tadi Okay, just accept it lah first. Sekarang ni you just accept because I think most of you will because you have no idea what is it. Okay, so you just accept it, then I will show you example later, right? So the mean and standard deviation for the sampling ratio of S bar is given by this formula. So as I mentioned just now, mu S bar, okay, mu S bar, right? And sigma S bar to indicate the mean of standard deviation, mean of sample mean and standard deviation of sample mean. So how to get this one? Sample mean of sample mean is equal to mean. And what does it mean here? Simbol ni maksud dia apa? This symbol is represent the mean for population. Okay, yang tu you dah belajar pun sebelum ni pun. So what does it mean by sigma here? This one is standard deviation of population. Okay, so maksudnya dalam to get the sample mean or to get the mean of sample mean, you need to have the information of population. Maksudnya you kena ada juga maklumat tentang population. Okay. So you need to remember lah how to find or the formula. This formula you need to remember. Okay, next. Okay, the next one is saya kena kecilkan slide. Tak boleh lagi. Okay, the next one is shape of the sampling distribution of sample mean. Okay, class, in the previous chapter, chapter 4, you learn about the shape ataupun the type of distribution. We have a normal, standard, normal distribution and also standard normal distribution. So for this one, chapter 5 also they have this type of distribution lah, which is we have a normal and not normal. Okay. So for the normal distribution, we use this formula to change your x. To get your z value. Okay, because we need to refer the table, the same table that we use in chapter 4. Okay, the same table, standard normal table. So x bar here is represent your sample mean, mu here is represent the mean of population, and sigma here is the standard deviation for population. Okay, now we go to the second one, not normally. So not normally distribution is when the sample size is large. What does it mean by large? Okay, it's large when your n, okay, your n here is your sample size, okay? When your n is greater and equal to 30. Okay, when you get your n lebih besar dan ataupun sama dengan 30 dan ke atas, automatically it will be used the normal approximation ataupun normal distributed population. So what does it mean is you will use the same equation like this. Okay. Alright. So maksudnya dalam in easy word I can say that every time you get the question, okay, yeah, you of course you can check dulu your n. Kalau your n greater than 30, automatically this will be this formula lah. So you just only have one formula here to use to find the z. For this one is for sample mean. Okay, right. Okay, so we already done for sample mean. So now we go to the proportion. So we want to tabulating the sampling distribution of proportion. Okay, proportion. But before that, you need to know what is a proportion. Okay, class. So population and sample proportion. Okay, this is the notation. Okay, so we have P here. And P here means the population proportion. And how to get your P? X over N. What is the X? X is the success. Probability that success. Okay, actually this one P, kalau you are still remember, or maybe you can check now in chapter 3. You have 3 types of distribution. The first one is binomial, the second one is hypergeometric, and the third one is Poisson. And if you see for the binomial, they have NP or PQ. P. So actually this is the same P. Okay, P here means that it represent the success. Okay, the success. Alright. Okay. So P here is a population, okay, population proportion, and PH, okay, we have pronounced as PH, is a sample proportion. Okay, and what is X? X here is a success. Okay, we just consider it success. A success here means not yang positif. Dia tak semesti positif. Dia tak semesti positive thing ataupun benda yang positif. It depend on the question. Question tu dia tengah buat ataupun it asks you about what? For example, defective. Contoh diode ataupun bulb, defective bulbs. Mentol yang rosak contoh. So mentol yang rosak, defective. Defective, if we think that defective would be the failure lah, kan, betul, failure, but not a must for defective is a failure, tak semestinya. It depend on the question. Maksudnya success here means what does the question ask you to find, ataupun soalan tu nak apa sebenarnya. Dia nak, kalau dia if the question asks you to find the property of defective, so means that defective is the success thing here. Okay, alright. So make sure you clear on what does successful mean here kat sini. Okay. Alright, so then we have Q head ataupun Q means that the failure lah. Kalau tadi tu success, P is a success one, so Q will be the failure. So it's just 1 minus P head lah. Okay. Okay, now we go to the mean and standard deviation of the sampling distribution of P head. Okay, tadi kita dah buat untuk X bar. So now we go to the P head. Okay, mean and standard deviation of P head is given by this. Okay, mean of P head, which is the mean of proportion, Okay, mean of sample proportion is equal to population proportion. Okay, is equal to population proportion. And what does it mean? This mean is X over N lah. X over N. Okay, saya dah tulis tadi kat sini kan, X over N. Okay, then standard deviation is equal to square root P1 minus P, or you can write like this lah. P1 or 1 minus P actually is equal to Q, yes, Q 1 minus P also is equal to Q. Okay, how to find Q? Q is 1 minus P. Dia sama, benda yang sama je. Okay. Then the last one here. Is it the last one? Yeah. Shape of the sampling distribution of pH. Tadi S bar, so sekarang pH. So we still have to normally and not normally. So we use this one to transform your Z. Okay, pH minus P over square root of PQ over N. Okay, and for the not normally, okay, when the sample size is large. Okay, tadi for example, for the sample mean is large is when your N is greater and equal to 30. Okay, that one is for sample mean. But now for proportion, it's considered as large when, okay, it's considered as large when your NP, okay, N times P. N is your sample size, P is your proportion lah. Success is greater than 5, not equal. It's greater than 5 and N. So means that it must be both. Okay, because the word N here must be both. Kalau either one je, tetap. Okay, must be both. N times Q is greater than 5. Tadi P and now is Q. So when it does when it give you sample size is large and large is mean by this, then we will use this equation juga. Okay, we will use the same equation. Okay, so class, actually this one the not normally here yang when is large and so on is called as central limit theorem. Okay, it's called as central limit theorem. Okay, right. So yeah, that's all the important part or the important points that that you need to know in this chapter. Okay, so I just give you a summary here. Okay, a summary here. So the first thing is you need to know the sampling distribution concept. So in the sampling distribution, we have two. Sampling distribution for sample mean and sampling distribution for sample proportion. Okay, then for sample mean tadi pula, we need to find the mean and standard deviation. Okay, the mean of sample mean and the standard deviation for the sample mean. Same goes to the proportion. You need to find the mean of sample proportion and the standard deviation for the sample proportion. Okay, and the last thing here is the shape of it. Okay, the shape of it, maksudnya yang tadilah Z equal to apa-apa. That's all. Yang tu je untuk this chapter. Okay, alright. So I think we stop now. But before that, I just want to for the example, I will record in another video. Okay, so I will upload in Ulearn when it's ready. Okay, class. Thank you for your attention.